Video documentation of some things can be a tedious endeavor. This is not the case with hunting or filming nature. I found that it has only enhanced my enjoyment of the outdoors, especially now that not as much time can be allotted to such pursuits. I spent considerable time out of doors as a child and early adult. That has changed with age. Now, separated from land of most sorts, I found that recording nature allows me to live in those moments for longer. I suppose that can be said of artists of many art forms. I don't pretend to be an artist, but I do love art. We've all heard that nature can be cruel. Nature is neither cruel nor merciful. It is indifferent. The science of nature might be selective, but that selection process is not presided over by the Great Mother or Father God. Larger brain life forms, however, have some choice in their day-to-day existence. I see animals making choices every day. They have senses and feelings. I believe that they know love and pleasure, fear and discomfort. The forces that work for and against them, however, are both in of themselves and a stimulus for indifference. The weather doesn't feel. Hunger has no empathy. Territory isn't negotiated. There is no pity sex. There are no laws protecting the right to live or exist. Yet life fights to keep on living. Humanity's brain power has made us exceptional in the fight to live. Tool use, ingenuity, and our capacity to fashion disciplines and explanation of our universe has made the collective us a force of nature in our own right. We can crush continents, level the forests, burrow and upturn Earth, decimate wildlife, and split atoms. Our desire to survive, conquer, and procreate has removed us from nature and the day-to-day choices therein. We not only have the ability to live at the expense of some life, some of the time, but also to go on living at the expense of all life on Earth, for a time. As such, we do not bear the weight of consequence. We do not have to get our hands bloody. We have the luxury of anthropomorphizing animals and viewing plant life as a global nervous system. We idealize the harmonious balance of nature and the camaraderie of life on Earth, while someone else crushes a drove of pigs in a compactor. In truth, the harmonious balance of nature requires the restoration of an ecology that exists without humans, the self-appointed gods of this planet. To live apart from nature is to live as a god. This is a gross imbalance. This is how we smite so easily. The same sciences and disciplines that have made us lords of the realm can also help to lessen our negative impact. But until we can live as if we were not here at all, we must learn to live as good stewards who manage our resources, appreciate the interconnectedness that nature demands, take responsibility for the awesome might of our species, and re-engage with those meaningful and impactful choices that our continued survival demands. That is why I'm a hunter. We aren't just paying for the right to kill. We are funding the management of our ecosystems, many of which can no longer exist without our help. We pay for the privilege of re-engaging with our planet and to take responsibility for our own survival. It is a far better way to build the next generation of citizen stewards than the status quo. A nation of cogs and an ignorant grinder feasting at noon in the drive-through lane. What unfolded out in those woods amounted to one of the most bizarre days of hunting I've experienced. It wouldn't be right to share all the details and accounts of those whose religion and culture preclude exposure to the public eye. However, I will say this about hunting on public land. In addition to fighting the elements and outfoxing your game, you will find yourself in competition with other hunters. There are those who live in close proximity and view the land as an extension of their own. Those who've grown weary of hunters trespassing their borders to track or unwittingly hunt. And there are those who live at some distance and have been hunting or scouting the area for years.
Buck came through and I hit him, but I didn't drop him. He went a little further on.
People are often territorial of private land. On narrow allotments and small stacked acreages, the competition can be fierce and tempers short. But on public land, you are likely to encounter more people and far more unknowns. The spirit of tradition, the camaraderie of shared purpose, and lofty sentiments on ecology and ethics do not always win the day. You will find those unfamiliar with the hunting ethic and those who stand in outright opposition of the practice of hunting entirely. Even amongst hunters in agreement with hunting, there are disagreements about practices, misunderstandings of ever-changing law, and ethical misgivings about everything from implements used in harvest to modes of transportation, technology, and animals utilized in the pursuit of game. To some, high levels of coordination and group drive seem unethical. To others, the use of deer stands, blinds, and elevated positions might be perceived as lazy and unfair. Out in the field, confusion sometimes abounds when the gunfire starts. Temptation, greed, pride, or even hunger can govern decision. And those decisions must be made in a split second. Shoot or don't shoot. Tag or do not tag. Set up, tear down, or pack up. Confront or congratulate. Retreat or stand your ground when harassed, threatened, or attacked. What delineates one form of interaction from another? Immersion in nature and involvement in hunting will require certain levels of awareness and thought on your part. Wit must be keen, senses heightened, and your own instinct trusted. A safe and conscientious hunter is not born but raised, taught, and guided. This is why hunting is passed down from one generation to another. This is why the stories, metaphors derived therein, and personal experience thrive part and parcel as community and filial tradition. In a way, it is a vessel for remembrance and collective identity. Many of us are walking quilts stitched together through time. We wear our father's hat, carry our grandfather's knives and grandmother's shotguns. The boots might be lucky and near replacements for our first pair. Our character, conduct, and knowledge is stitched together as well. Personal experiences, formal education, anecdotes, yarns, and cautionary tales. Dumb luck and privilege is present in all things. But continued survival, like continued success, is no accident. The lure of rugged individualism and self-autonomy might draw in and end up feeding some of the crowd, but education toward hunting's greater purpose, benefit, and value is necessary to sustain the future of hunting for all. If you love and understand this thing we do, I encourage you to try to explain it in your best way possible to those who do not. We aren't just clinging to tradition and a bygone way of life. Hunting isn't just bloodlust, bragging rights, and trophies. Hunters are educating the next generation in choice, character, and survival, managing game by reducing populations to sustainable levels, and funding the preservation of wild pockets which exist in the places between grocery chains and the crannies under highways. I realize hunting isn't for everyone. If it isn't for you, I hope you find other opportunities to meaningfully engage in nature in the community of nature lovers. What is more, I hope you gain new understanding and begin to see hunting in a different light. Thank you for joining me, and get outdoors as much as you can.